Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee.
If we talk about youth today, it can be separated from the term social agent or agent of change. Not only as a subtle youth to take advantage of their demographic number in the future, but I can say that even now, they have made a lot of changes for the world and for the future of marginalized group or subalterns. If anyone is still unfamiliar with how youth as social agents work or what subalterns are, VPods will refresh your mind and provide good news from actual agents of change efforts in Indonesia. Hi, it's me again, Viona, and welcome back to VPods.
Don't wait for it, just let it happen.
Youth and youth. Their movement are very much dynamic and prominent these days. Starting from taking part in the streets to hold demonstrations or long marches, to managing non-governmental organizations and media companies to educate the public and facilitate their community. No wonder if many boomers or older generations are in confusion to understand the youth voices. Well, it's not a problem because the role of young people, mainly as agent of change, will be triggered if they discover their agency or their capacity to think and act during specific points or moments in their life course, especially when faced with challenging circumstances. So, as long as the older generations don't make a tantrum that is prone to becoming a disaster in the future, the agent of change will not supervise it completely. Rob White and Joanna Wine have a very relevant concept about the birth of agency and the basis intuitions of youth as social agents. They conceptualize agency through the prism of volitions, will, and choice, which has three dimensions. The first is private goals that involve immediate or personal decisions, and second is public domain that includes individual or collective projects linked to the change or maintaining institutional organization. And lastly is a social transformation that focuses on the collective goals of any endeavor. All three dimensions are present as an effective agency. It entails being aware of one's ability to act, being willing to take collective action in the group's best interests, and most crucially, being knowledgeable and ready to question the power structure. These dimensions also emphasize the significance of a contextual perspective. In order to compensate the events that may have altered power relations across different groups in society, it is necessary to evaluate current social relations empirically or historically. Besides, trace the backgrounds of given structural connections that would absolutely strengthen the agency. And that's what queens and kings do. So, what it has to do with the subalterns? Homi K. Baba once emphasized that there is an importance of social power relations in defining subalterns as social groups that are oppressed. In the descriptions of colonialism era, subalterns refers to lower social classes displaced to a society's margins that are currently referred as marginalized group. Matt Anderson said that marginalized youth refers to those who are left behind, neglected, or simply disconnected and unintegrated within the mainstream or the country itself. Among them are girls, women, LGBTQ plus community, ethnic, racial, or religious minority, and youth with disability. It is still a dilemma in all parts of the world. But in Indonesia, after many of the youth raised the urgency about equal rights for every citizen, the government is starting to indicate baby steps to give rights to trans women in Indonesia. Curious? Stay tuned. In the past, transgender and trans women were constrained by stigma and bureaucracy to get a right to social assistance from the government, both administratively and in health, such as free swab test services in this COVID-19 pandemic era. Even for travel and work, they can be recognized by the government or other institutions. But in the end, fortunately, the government heard youth voice regarding this issue. On June 2, 2021, the Directorate General of Population and Civil Registration of the Ministry of Home Affairs, or Ditjen Dukcapil Kemendagri, provided population administration services in the form of electronic ID cards and family cards for transgender friends, with optimal services without stigma and discriminations. A total of 350 trans women participated in the service at the Dukcapil in South Tangerang. Trans women must fill out the questionnaire with honesty by filling in their actual name and the congenital genitals, following the applicable legal rules in Indonesia regarding population administration. However, the photo displayed on the electronic ID are their latest looks, so there is no misunderstanding when administering the electronic ID. In this way, the government vision stated in Law Number 24 of 2013, in conjunction with Law Number 23 of 2006, concerning population administrations, that all Indonesian citizens must have registered and must have an ID card and family card so they can get good public services, such as BPJS services, and social assistance can be realized little by that regulations. Previously, Dukcapil also provides services for making electronic IDs to people with disabilities by visiting their homes independently. In the current conditions, Dukcapil cooperates with many foundations and trans women organizations in Indonesia to collect trans women who do not have an electronic ID yet and immediately swap over to the population offices in each region. As they should, the state should embrace its citizens indiscriminately. With a small changes like this, it will open up many opportunities for similar approaches, and not to mention that marginalized youth will certainly appreciate the government's effort and consider these small acts as a big change. In the future, Indonesia will become a safe space for all levels of society and young people who will later become agents of civilizations, let alone the agents that will lift the rights of subalterns and unrestricted them from the social class. We can start to be grateful and hoping that a good start has come. We will meet in another episode with a more critical discussion. Keep Vice yourself with Vipods. Cheers.